think it's a real testament to the gallery and to the studio, this appetite to explore and take materials and push them to the ends of their limits and use them in unusual ways.
People feel compelled to touch it, they feel compelled to try to understand what it is. And then once they're inside, it's actually a really calm space and quite a lovely sort of cocoon.
The gallery shop is located in the entrance pavilion. It is an unusual oval spline shape where nothing is symmetrical. And it's connected with a back of house stockroom for the store. And it was our task to kind of work within that to figure out how we were going to make a commercial and immersive spatial experience. We wanted to move beyond the strict confines of the gallery gift shop and create something that was more of an installation piece in and of itself. We also wanted to make sure that we were grounded in the existing site and the existing gallery, so whether that's the warm sandstone tones or the different textural elements and patinas that are formed over time and create the history of that place.
It should feel like the patinated handrails, it should feel like the worn sandstone steps, it should feel something that feels handcrafted, something that can be appreciated, something that changes the way the light hits it. But then how can we bring a really contemporary lens to that? And I think the resin kind of brings all of those opportunities with light refraction and the way it creates an interesting mask over all the product, but also draws you into the space as well. Resin has always been a material that we've worked with, but we've never really thought that it could be worked on at a larger scale. We were working on a project with Hayden Cox. We said, do you think something like this is achievable? Do you think we could make 2.4 metre high walls out of resin?
I started making surfboards around 25 years ago, and that experience in working with like resins, fiberglass, carbon fibers and different foams has led me to explore different design projects over the years, and working with resin has been one of those things that I've really sort of dived into. As a designer, I've always really liked to focus on materiality. So when it came to this project, I really wanted to kind of push the boundaries on sustainability of epoxy resins and develop a custom resin for the project out of biomaterial. So we developed a 26% bio-based epoxy resin that was suited to the format that we were casting.
The ambition for using resin is that as a material, there's something really ethereal and something so simple about it. So we wanted to scale that idea up and go, well, how can we create something that almost it feels so singular that when you're looking at it, there's no hints of any other material or any other intervention within the resin itself.
Our initial prototypes were definitely very ambitious, but we slowly started to refine the methodology together with Hayden. Each of the 29 modules weighs somewhere between 300 and 500 kilos, and there's just no data on how this material will perform structurally. So we work closely with Arup Structure to do some of our own testing and investigation.
The interesting about resin is you can only pour a certain amount at a time, or else it gets too hot and it overheats or it expands too much. So the actual limitations that we discovered through the process of testing is that it becomes very stable when you pour about 20 mil at a time. But then it started to present this incredible layering effect that refracted light beautifully, but then also gave us the opportunity to start to play with the gradation of colour.
We chose a transparent pigment to work with, and it's not just the transparency of the resin that you play with to achieve those looks. So it can be the surface finish, like a matte finish. That allows you to see potentially through a polished surface on one side, but then the vision can't pass through the matte surface on the other side. The environment's such an important thing when working with resin, and to build a project of this scale and size, we were going to have to purpose build 2 factories that are set up with temperature control, with the layout and the plan to suit 29 quite large moulds that could handle 400 to 500 kilos in each one of those moulds, and kind of design 2 factories, one for casting the resin and the second for sanding the resin, and to be able to move the pieces back and forth. We had to set up scaffolding, get access for myself and the team to pour every single day, which was 29 different moulds, the colour changing every single day, and 109 days of consecutive pouring.
There's such an armature that goes around these moulds, and there was only a small panel that you could see, but it was very dark inside, and we were kind of all, watching it slowly, incrementally creep up and hoping that everything was going okay on the inside.
We'll know by the last part. So after 109 days of pouring, we had to post-cure the first of the moulds, and we custom built an oven to bring the moulds into there, cure it up to 80 degrees for 3 days straight. And so once we had that, it was probably like one of those most nerve-wracking moments of the whole project, because it was the reveal of opening the first mould.
It was an incredible milestone, and we all stood around. We got a forklift and moved into place and laid it down and started pulling apart. And it was like unwrapping a Christmas present together, like how much anticipation there was. And it was beautiful because even though it wasn't polished and wasn't smooth, we just knew that it was going to work.
Yeah. That was a really cool milestone to get between, I guess, the first part, which is the pouring of the resin, and then the second part, which is a massive task, which is to sand and polish the units. It's all done by sanding by hand. So you're sanding with big, long poles, orbital machines, sander polishers. Each piece was about 3 weeks through the factory and that production line. It's a real testament to the craftsmanship of the team that I have, and the ability to work with this material in such a specific way to achieve these hand-finished pieces that will look all the same once you install them.
We were given a window of about 2 months to actually install all the pieces. And then that's when we could really start to see the beauty of the resin and how it would work in the actual space.
It was amazing to be able to kind of push the boundaries, and when you get to the finish line, you kind of be able to step back and appreciate the enormity of this project.
Walking into the space and watching the sun stream in and how that shifts throughout the day and how it just captures light and it just captures energy, it was something that's really magical.
It was really exhilarating to see the resin really start to sing.
You begin to see, as you move around the space, how the different layers bounce light back off each other, and it's almost like this holographic and distorting effect. It was just amazing.